Welcome to the Fort Myers Beach Good Neighbor Podcast. No shade, just sunshine, drama-free, positive vibes only. Each episode, we bring you closer to the neighbors, local legends, and businesses that support the local community and make Fort Myers Beach the slice of paradise we all love. We want to send out some island love to State Insurance USA. They are the good neighbors and businesses that allow us to share the soul of our community with every listener, from local stories to the positive vibe of island life. Here's to celebrating all that makes Fort Myers Beach the slice of paradise we all love. Here's your host, Cabo Jim Schaller.
Welcome, good neighbors. Today we have good neighbor John Jacobsen from, a public adjuster from Final Analysis, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Very good. Well, pleasure to have you on the show today, and pleasure to share your story with our listeners. So without further ado, let's jump right in. And why don't you share a little bit about what you do?
Yes, thanks. I am, as you correctly pointed out, a public adjuster, as well as an attorney, although I'm primarily a public adjuster. And for those who don't know exactly what that is, you can think of it this way. When you make a homeowner's claim, or if you're a business and you make a claim on your business for property damage, and your insurance company sends somebody out to write an estimate and assess the loss, they're sending an adjuster out there. You as a policyholder have a right to have an adjuster there on your behalf, someone representing you in the claim. The motto of my company, Final Analysis, is your insurance company has an adjuster, so should you. And I'm here to make sure the insurance company lives up to what they promise in their policy. They have in their policy something called an insuring agreement, where they say what they will do in the event you have a claim that's covered on the policy. I make sure they do exactly what they say they're going to do.
Very nice, very nice. And that's the important part of the process. So how did you start setting up shop here in Southwest Florida?
About 7 years ago, to be exact. You may hear in my voice a slight accent. I'm originally from and started my career in Minnesota, where I went to both college and law school, and then found my way into working for insurance companies right after I got finished in law school, where I did everything from bodily injury claims in auto accidents all the way up to I eventually did medical malpractice defense, and then eventually found my way into property claims, and that eventually led me down to Florida and to public adjusting. Like I said, I worked for insurance companies before, so I got a pretty good feel after about 20 years total working for insurance companies, how they think, what their claim review process is, and how they, I'll just say it, try to get out of paying as much as they can or limiting paying as much as they can. And I eventually found my way into public adjusting when I learned for the first time way back in 2009 when I was working for a Kemper insurance company that there was this field called public adjusting. And I had never heard of that before. I assumed policyholders just had to start a lawsuit if they weren't happy with what was going on in their case. So I inquired and I got my own public adjusting license. I came down here to Florida in 2017 and started doing claims on behalf of settling Irma claims, Hurricane Irma claims, on behalf of citizens, and then eventually about 6 other insurance carriers. Then policyholders began hiring me to represent them in what's called the appraisal process, where if you don't agree with what the insurance company is paying, you can contest it in appraisal and I could represent them, and the insurance company has to have somebody who represents them, and we come to a neutral assessment of the property that invariably, in most cases, the policyholder almost always wins. And then I found my way to Southwest Florida when initially I lived in the greater Fort Lauderdale area, namely in Hallandale Beach. And one day when it took me a half an hour to go the 6 blocks just to get to I-95, I thought, this is ridiculous. I had a claim in Naples around that time. I really liked it out there. I really liked the vibe of Naples all the way up to Fort Myers and Fort Myers Beach. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to live here. And when I've got cases in Miami, I'll just go and spend the day there where I don't have to deal with I-95 all the time.
I appreciate that. I was born and raised in the Midwest, so Chicago traffic is not fun. Miami's not any fun either, for sure. So running
if
a
I could
business,
interrupt, where in Chicago? Because I was born and raised in the south side of Chicago.
so I was I was born in Wisconsin, but grew up in the northwest suburbs. So Arlington Heights, Schaumburg, went to high school out in Wakanda, which is out by Barrington. Yep.
Oh, I know Wakanda. They had a beach there.
Yeah,
They had
Phil's Beach.
a lake there that had one of the better inland beaches I've ever seen in Illinois. But usually we had to go out to Michigan to the Warren Dunes if we wanted a real beach.
Absolutely. But now we have beaches all around us down here, right?
We've got incredible beaches in Fort Myers Beach all the way down to Marco Island. So, yeah, I think we got the best beaches in the country down here.
Absolutely. So speaking of beaches, running a business down here in Southwest Florida by the beach sounds like a dream job, but we've all had storms, whether personally, professionally, that we've had to work our way through. Is there something that helped define who you are and maybe your proudest moment in getting through that?
I've had a number of those where people have hired me to negotiate. I had a time when I negotiated on behalf of borrowers who were facing foreclosure and got in touch with their lenders, and I had a hand in saving hundreds of people's homes in the upper Midwest where I used to live. And down here, that same thing, whether I worked for insurance companies or whether I worked for policyholders and claims, I feel like when I'm working against insurance companies or banks, I'm on a mission. You might even call it a spiritual mission, because I feel like I'm dealing with institutional evil at its worst. And it's my job to take down those strongholds. But when the clients tell me thank you, and when I see that I got them the money they otherwise would not have gotten, when, just as recently as a couple last month, I had a case that I had taken on where the insurance company only offered them $13,000, but after my involvement, I got it to go up to $186,000. That was 10 times more than they otherwise would have gotten. And I've had plenty of instances like that. That's rewarding, not just because it's a notch in my gun, if you will, but it's because I see that I did something that the policyholder could not have done themselves, because I knew how to battle them, and I knew how to battle the insurance companies and, like I said, take down those strongholds.
Absolutely. And that's great. And speaking along those lines, do you see certain things changing or maybe trending in the industry?
I do. I unfortunately have recently observed that the insurance companies are trying to take away as much power as they can from the policyholders, requiring them to seek more help. I mean, just 3 years ago, Florida statutes changed, and they no longer allowed attorney's fees associated with every hurricane claim. So now, if they hire an attorney, it's out of their own pocket. It's not the insurance company paying for it. And it's making it harder for people of less means to be able to take on and fight the insurance company. So there have been some downward trends. Insurance companies, however, you might call an upward trend, are being held more accountable as we've seen more and more instances of insurer or carrier fraud that have been happening when they have done things all the way up to and including fixing estimates that they hire independent adjusters to do to make it look like they estimated a lot less than they actually did. An episode of 60 Minutes dealt with that about 2 years ago. And we're seeing more accountability of the carriers, although they're responding in ways, and sadly, much of this is legislative, where they're making it more challenging for the policyholders. Like I said, especially those with less means at their disposal.
Yeah, and insurance is definitely a big issue down here in Florida, whether it's homeowners insurance, flood insurance, hurricane insurance. It's become a major factor in owning homes down here, and for the
Something,
vacationers.
you're right. And it was in Florida where I learned a phrase for the first time. That phrase is being insurance poor. Where you're spending so much on insurance every month. I know what I have to spend on insurance every month between my home, my cars, my motorhome. It's quite expensive, over $2,000 a month. And, if I'm not getting value for that when I have a claim, I've half jokingly said that insurance is a great product until you have a claim. Well, what is the purpose of having insurance? It's to be there when you have a claim.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people that, sometimes forego the insurance and take the risk on themselves, and they end up better in the long run because they are able to recoup or get back to where they were a lot quicker than the people that have to file the claims and go through the whole process.
And you've identified a major trend right now. There's more and more people, especially when they own their homes outright. That's quite common down here just because of all the wealth that's moving down to Southwest Florida. You have more and more people who can afford to buy their homes outright, and then they just don't carry insurance. They take on the risk. And on the one hand, I want to say, well, you really should be insured. But then when I see the shenanigans that the carriers are pulling, I can't quite blame them.
Absolutely. So living down here in South Florida, we're down here for a reason. Running your own business could be very demanding of your time. When you get a moment of free time, is there something you enjoy doing?
Yes. I mentioned about 2 minutes ago that I have a motorhome, 2011 Winnebago Sightseer. And I love going out and exploring different areas. Although it takes 5 hours to get out of Florida, there's plenty to see here in Florida. And last a few days after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, went down to a campground in the Keys and really enjoyed that for a few days. And as much as I can get out in the motorhome, I like to go out for a week or two at a time and just work from the road. There's something about moving and being on the move that I think defines who we are as Americans. Because we had westward expansion in this country in the 1800s as the United States expanded, and I think Americans are made to move, and there's something in us that wants to move. So I love doing so in my motorhome.
There we go. And other people are just moving to Southwest Florida right now.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think one of the issues we have, to bring it back into more serious territory here, is that Florida is just being overdeveloped. We've got more and more people moving down here because they're fleeing the things that are going on in the states they're leaving. And because of that, we've gotten more and more development. The Everglades used to be about, I think I once heard 500% bigger than they are now, just because of all the development that's happened, especially since the end of World War II. And we've got very little of the Everglades actually left, because I believe if it weren't for the Everglades, we would have the biggest population in the country. But right now, Florida is only number 3 behind California and Texas.
Absolutely, yes. We a lot of people coming here, a lot of land to build, but not quite as much as we would need to surpass those people. So, is there one thing you wish our listeners knew about what you do that maybe they wouldn't be too familiar with?
Yes, they should know that if they have damage from a loss on their homeowners policy, and the insurance company, if they suspect they're not getting what they should be from their insurance company, there's someone out there who can look at their policy and tell them what's available to them that they may not be aware of, or look at the loss and tell them, hey, this is worth $25,000, not the $2,000 that they're offering you. And we do so usually based on about 10% of, we'll recover 10% of what they recover, which is going to leave them enough money to be able to do the work to restore their home. So I would just like to let them know they don't necessarily have to hire an attorney who would take a third or more of their the damage to their home to compensate themselves, but we can do so as public adjusters for considerably less.
I love that. And we appreciate what you do. So how would our listeners go about contacting you if they had some questions or needed some advice?
They can go to my website where I talk a lot more about public adjusting. I lay out exactly what I do, why I do it, and the states I'm licensed in, because I'm licensed in 8 other states besides Florida. But that will tell them, that much more. And that address is John A. Jacobsen, JOHNAJACOBSEN.net. Or I'm glad to even, if they want to give me a call, I'm glad to speak with them directly. And my number would be there on my site, or I can give it now if that's permissible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It would be 239-919-6624.
Very good. Any last words for our listeners other than that?
Last words for your listeners, I would just say, don't be afraid to ask questions, especially of your insurance company. I'm in a business that has to speak truth to power all the time. And I would tell them, don't be afraid to speak truth to power. And if you don't feel able to do that, especially against an insurance company, I'm here to help them out. And I would take that same advice about speaking truth to power and apply it across the board. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself in any situation, because there's so many people that, and organizations for that matter, that are looking to take advantage of you. It's a sad thing, but be empowered. How's that for nice, pithy advice?
I love it. I love it. And we appreciate what you do to help people in those situations as well. John, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for being such a good neighbor, and we'll see you out on the beach here soon.
Sounds good, Jim. Hope to see you on the beach myself.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fort Myers Beach Good Neighbor Podcast. No shade, just sunshine, drama-free, positive vibes only. If you loved what you heard, share it with a friend and keep the good vibes going. Until next time, remember to kabo until you wabo and keep being a good neighbor. Also, to nominate your favorite neighbors, local legends, heroes, or local businesses to be on the show, go to fmbgoodneighbor.com, that's fmbgoodneighbor.com, or call 239-427-4100. We want to send out some island love to State Insurance USA. They are the good neighbors and businesses that allow us to share the soul of our community with every listener, from local stories to the positive vibe of island life. Here's to celebrating all that makes Fort Myers Beach the slice of paradise we all love.